Do you have a loved one who feels isolated or needs assistance to participate in social activities? The term daycare used to be only associated with children, but the need for that service is increasing among adults. Join us and learn about the Rose Kleiner Center and Adult Daycare. Our guest today is Christina Lugo. Christina joined Avenidas in March of 2018 as the director at the Avenidas Rose Kleiner Center. Prior to Avenidas, Christina was a senior director of PACE programs at the Institute of Aging. With 20 years of healthcare leadership, Christina has a passion for improving the lives of dependent seniors, as well as their caregivers. Christina received her master's degree in social work in 2002 from Virginia Commonwealth University and became a licensed clinical social worker in 2011. Christina, welcome to The Better Part.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Can you tell us what is Avenidas and what is the Avenidas Rose Kleiner Center?
Avenidas is a nonprofit focused on serving seniors. It started in 1969 in Palo Alto as the Senior Coordinating Council, and actually started in a library providing information and assistance. Yeah. Today we serve 7,500 seniors in this area, everywhere from Palo Alto, Sunnyvale, Cupertino, San Jose, Mountain View. And we not only serve older adults, but also their caregivers. The Rose Kleiner Center is based in Mountain View, and it's one of Avenidas' largest programs. And it's an adult day healthcare center,
I see,
as well as an adult day care.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the history of Rose Kleiner Center?
Sure. Rose Kleiner Center started in 1978 in Palo Alto. And in 2005, we built a beautiful new building across from the Mountain View Senior Center and became the Rose Kleiner Center. Rose Kleiner she was a leading social worker in the field of aging, served on many boards, and is really the inspiration for what we do at the Rose Kleiner Center.
I see. So you had your roots in Palo Alto then, as far as the formation.
Yes.
Okay. So what services does the Rose Kleiner Center provide?
We serve seniors, or actually adults 18 and older.
I see. And
they come to us during the day. We provide transportation, which is door to door, so that we can guarantee their safety in and out of the center and to and from their homes. And once they arrive, we provide therapeutic activities, socialization, social services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. We serve them a meal, a nutritious meal every day that's catered to their diet modifications if needed. And then at the end of the day, we send them home on our transportation.
I see. So I imagine that there might be a pretty good demand for these services in the Bay Area. Is that right?
There is. There's actually not enough services like ours to meet the need of the growing population of seniors. By 2030, the population of many of the age groups within older adults 55 and older is growing exponentially, and there's not enough services right now to meet that need.
Yes, I imagine you have this whole baby boom, which is growing older, and that's going to be increasing the demand for your services, certainly.
Definitely.
You mentioned, too, that you serve people 18 years and older, and but is your target actually 50 and older, or 55, or are you, what's
good question.
Policy on this?
Good question. So the people that are 18 and older usually have a developmental disability of some sort, or we have a woman with a traumatic brain injury. It really depends if they need more structured care. We're for seniors and older adults that aren't able to attend a senior center, that aren't as independent, and so they need a more structured environment. But yes, primarily we serve, I would say 80 to 90 is the bulk of our participants that attend. and probably about 70% of those have some type of cognitive impairment,
I see.
in addition to a functional impairment.
So does the Rose Kleiner Center kind of stand alone in providing these services in the Bay Area, or are there other centers that provide similar services?
Good question. We're actually one of the smaller centers. We can serve up to 65 people per day. And there's Golden Castle Adult Day Healthcare in Palo Alto.
Golden Castle, okay.
There's Silicon Valley Adult Day Healthcare in Milpitas, Grace Adult Day Healthcare in Santa Clara, and then Live Oak is an adult day care with many different locations in this area, and they provide adult day care without the healthcare component.
Okay, so you provide different portions of the. Now, it sounds like Rose Kleiner is very comprehensive, or perhaps some of these other centers provide bits and pieces of it.
So adult day health care has more focus on health. So the nurse is in collaboration with the family and the doctors. The the physical therapist and occupational therapist are very involved with their treatment plan, whereas adult daycare, which we also provide, is a more social model. So there's not as much of a focus on their healthcare needs.
As you know, I spent about 2 to 3 years at Avenidas myself,
Yes.
recovering from an accident.
Yes.
And so I have a very good idea as far as what a typical day looks like. But could you maybe take our audience through what is a typical day at Rose Kleiner?
Sure.
For instance, what is from the time that you walk in the front door of the building, from the time that you go home? I mean, what would it look like?
Sure. Most participants are arriving at night around 9:30, and we have what's called coffee chat. So they come in, they get their cup of coffee or tea, beverage of their choice, and sit with their peers and socialize or read a magazine or the newspaper that day. And then at 10 o'clock, we go into our morning activity, and folks have their choice of either a discussion group or more of a hands-on activity. Our discussion groups include Travelogue, which is a travel video segment where we walk people through the different areas of the world, social change.
And as I recall, you have videos with that too.
Yes.
You show a movie or something and talk about it.
Snippets of one with breaking it up into discussion. Right. Yes. Social change, current events. We added a cooking class.
A cooking class, that's interesting.
It's more of a cooking demonstration,
Okay.
but we make it interactive.
You don't dare turn us loose in the kitchen.
No. And then on the other side, we have a divider in our main day room. We do something more hands-on. So an art and craft, a sewing project. We have great volunteers and teachers from Foothill College that come in to run those programs. And then at 11, we have exercise groups. So we have 3 different exercise groups, which the physical therapist and occupational therapist identify who is most appropriate for those groups. And they vary mostly on how strenuous the activities are.
Are most of these sit-down exercises, or is there a lot of stand-up?
One of them is pretty much all sit-down for those that are wheelchair-bound or not able to follow instruction as well.
Right.
And then the other 2 are increasingly more strenuous. There's one that gets quite loud and rowdy. They have a lot of fun in there.
I mean, you mentioned too the travel logs. I remember one of the things I enjoyed was that you used to show a series of the men who built America and so on, and talking about some of the old family dynasties from the 1800s, early 1900s who built the country and so on. And I really enjoyed watching those. And I remember the exercise programs. I always felt they were very appropriate, and I welcome those.
Perfect. After that, we go into lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed our meal service.
Yes, I did. We'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
We'll come to that in a minute. So when you think about adult daycare, like I said, you think about adults, but do the people have an opportunity to interact with children too?
Yes, we have every Thursday we have a preschool on campus,
Oh, you,
right
okay.
behind the Mountain View Senior Center, and they walk over. They're little 3 and 4-year-olds. Probably about 20 of them come over, and we run an intergenerational program where our activity staff will lead the children in reading a book and music. They're able to interact somewhat with the participants and vice versa. A lot of folks really enjoy that.
Now, I remember too the Avenidas exercise program. You say you can participate in this or not. I remember too. Do you have a physical therapy program where you have?
We do.
I remember you used to have physical therapists on site.
We do.
And they take you out and walk you around and work with you in a different room and so on and go through various treatments.
Exactly.
Tell us a
So
little
in
bit about
addition
that.
to our hour-long exercise group at 11, we do have skilled care. So it's either a physical therapist or occupational therapist or a rehab assistant that will meet one-on-one with that participant, either going outside and doing something or staying inside in the gym. It depends on what the need is.
And you have an option to sign up for that or not to sign up for it?
Usually it's the physical therapist saying, I think you need this level of service.
Okay, you've been sitting too long. We're going to get out and work you a
Yeah,
little
because
bit.
our goal is really to keep people in the community for as long as possible. And so we want to make sure that we're meeting that need.
Now, I remember when I talked with you initially, you mentioned nursing services. And I know you have a nurse on site. And you were kind of excited about a nursing outreach program to be sure that people took medications. Can you tell us about your nursing services and this new outreach program, please?
Sure. We actually have 4 different levels of nursing at the Avenidas
4?
Rose Kleiner
That's
Center.
impressive.
So we have an LVN who does primarily medication administration at the center, of daily vitals, monthly weights. So she makes sure that's all taken care of. They do.
Oh, dear.
We want to look for weight loss or weight gain.
Right.
Yeah, any major changes. And then she reports those to our dietitian. And then we have a director of
You
health care.
starve this week, no?
We don't do that. We have a director of health services that really is the key to all the nursing services at Avenidas. And she does most of the communication with the physicians and the family if we're noticing a concern or if there's an acute event happening.
So you can directly communicate with the family physician then?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Our participants sign a release so that we can do that, especially if there's something urgent going on.
Now you have an outreach program too, right?
Yeah, so we have 2 other nurses. One is called a nurse navigator, and that person is assigned about 10 participants that are most at risk, the most at risk of institutionalization. Maybe they don't have family able to support them living in the community, so she's able to go to doctor's appointments with them. She
really? Okay.
goes to the pharmacy if needed to look at their medication management. She'll go to the home.
That's very comprehensive.
Very comprehensive.
Is this something new or?
We've had it started with a community-based health home. It was a pilot project that CADS that I spoke of earlier started, and we've had it within Avenidas for I think about 3 years now, maybe 4. It's a great asset for those that really are struggling to maintain in the community. She provides a lot of psychosocial support as well as the medical support.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
And then our 4th level is a clinical outreach specialist. She does blood pressures in the community if somebody is requesting that. She does outreach for seniors who might not have heard about us and is trying to get folks educated on not just our center, but other adult day services.
Now, one of the problems that some older people have, at least, or if people who've suffered a stroke and so on, simple things like using a bathroom and so on. Can you tell us? Do you have bathroom facilities that are suitable for people with disabilities, and do you have assistance available for people who need to use a bathroom?
We do. We have several bathrooms in our center, and we have staff that are assigned to those at all times. So assistance could come in the form of someone not remembering that they have to use the bathroom, and so it's a reminder to let's go take a walk and help them
Okay.
in, as well as those that are wheelchair bound and not able to transfer themselves, or with a walker that aren't able to sit safely. So we have staff to assist, and our rehab assistant is skilled in training the other program aides to
Okay.
use those skills.
And you have people available to help get on and off a toilet and so on.
Exactly.
I wanted to circle around to this. Can you tell me a little bit more about your meal service and the types of
Yes.
food you serve and
Sure.
your ability to accommodate dietary preferences and restrictions, etc.?
Sure. So we have two different caterers. 2 days a week, we have an Asian style meal.
Oh, really?
me.
Okay.
We have
Two different caterers.
two different caterers, and the other is more Western style meal. And so people are able to really have their choice. We always have an alternative as well. If they're not happy with the meal service that day, they can always get a sandwich.
I know one thing I really learned to like at Rose Kleiner Center was bok choy.
Oh yes, we serve.
I had never
serve that
had that
often.
before, and I didn't even know how to pronounce it. I didn't know what it was. It
Yeah.
looked like green stuff, and that was it. Yeah, but
tasty.
I really developed a taste for that, and
Yeah.
so
So in addition to the different types of meals, we're also able to provide a diabetic diet,
oh, you do,
a
okay.
renal diet if someone's on dialysis. We're able to cut their food if they're not able to chew or need assistance
So you do
with cutting.
assist in cutting food then?
We do. Actually quite a large number of our participants need help with cutting, whether it be because they're forgetting how to do that,
Right.
or because of their maybe they've had a stroke and can't swallow, and so we want to make sure that it's small enough for them.
Okay, and you eat at Tati at community dining tables, is this correct?
Yes, our day room is one of our exercise rooms, our cafeteria, and our activity room,
Okay.
multi-purpose.
Oh, that's interesting. And you mentioned exercise again. You have exercise programs, if I recall it, in the community room and also in special exercise room. You have some
Right.
exercise equipment, don't you, available too?
We do. We have what's called a new step, which is similar to a bike, and we have parallel bars, and yeah,
So it's almost kind of like it's kind of a rehab
it is
capability that you have there too.
exactly.
Can you perhaps tell me a little bit more about your educational programs, please?
Sure. We have educational programs for our participants as well as our caregivers. So our caregivers are welcome to come in, whether or not they have people enrolled in our center. We invite all community caregivers to come in on Fridays at 11.
Now, when you use the word caregivers, you're talking here about friends and family. Is this correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And for our participants, our educational programs are our current events, social change. We have an art appreciation class where she goes into different periods of art or different methods of art and does a PowerPoint. She brings in examples of those. And then our travel program, which we spoke of earlier.
Now, if I recall, you used to have some people teach these subjects who are actually community college teachers and faculty
Yes.
members. You still do?
Many of our activities are run by Foothill College instructors,
Okay.
including one of our exercise programs.
I seem to recall passing a form around. You had to sign up for a class.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So you come to college when you come to Rose Kleiners.
No homework, though,
No homework,
and no grading.
no grading.
So, can you tell me who is eligible to attend the Rose Kleiner Center? Do you have certain eligibility criteria?
Yeah, good question. We have participants that enroll at the Avenidas Rose Kleiner Center have to have a need for us. So the state has a form that we fill out called an individual plan of care. And on that form, it goes very detailed into what the person's needs are. So They have to have a need for assistance in an area of activity of daily living, which is dressing, bathing, grooming, toileting, etc.
So this is from the doctor that signs it, or?
So the team comes up with that plan, and then the doctor has to sign it exactly. And then for those participants that get our services paid for by Medicaid, Medi-Cal here in California, that goes to the managed health plan to sign off on, to say that, yes, we agree that this person needs this level of care.
What is the capacity of the center? How many people can you handle at one time?
We can handle 65 per day.
Per day,
So we're
okay.
almost there. We need about 10 more per day, and then we'll be at our capacity.
Maximum. Now, as far as the transportation to and from the center, tell me a little bit about your transportation plan.
Yeah, that's also quite personalized. We have many different transportation providers. Avenidas has a transportation program called Door to Door, which we'll use on occasion. We use VTA, which is the paratransit provider for Santa Clara County. And we contract with Novatrans, who runs some of the buses that we own. And so they're able to provide a more personalized service for us.
Now, do you have to live in certain cities to get door-to-door transportation, for instance? That's what I'm thinking of.
Door to door is usually within about 10 miles of our center.
Okay. Okay. So would that, about 10 to within 10 miles, you can get door-to-door transportation.
Let me rephrase that, because
Okay.
Door to Door is the name of the program.
Oh, I see. I mean, is there,
But
when I
all
say
of our
door-to-door, I'm saying,
transportation
pick you up at your
yeah.
home, take you to the center, and return you to your home.
All of our transportation providers have to provide door-to-door services. So that
Okay.
means that they're going up to the home, helping the participant in the car, and then when they get to the center, they're helping them out of the car and walking them into the door of our center.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Because some of our participants have wandering tendencies, and so
Right.
we don't want them getting lost in the community, or some are not safe to walk alone. They really need someone helping them.
Now, kind of the touchy question. You have a wonderful organization that provides a much-needed service. What does this cost? and what are your payment options?
Well, that's fair. We have two different programs, adult daycare and adult day health care. So adult
Okay.
daycare, because it's more of a social model without any of the medical need, is a cheaper option if someone qualifies
Without any of the
for
medical
that.
need, okay.
Yeah. And Veterans Administration can pay for that. Long-term care insurance, if someone has that, can pay for that, as well as private pay options.
I know when I was there, at least, there were quite a number of people who were veterans, and the VA
Yeah, they're fantastic.
was paying for it.
Yep. And then our adult day health care, we have a sliding scale.
Right.
So people can privately pay for that service. Again, long-term care insurance pays for that service, the VA, and Medi-Cal. I would say about 60% of our participants have Medi-Cal paying for them to come to the Rose Kleiner Center.
That's interesting. Okay, so 60%. Okay. Now, I noticed one interesting thing about your location in Mountain View is that you're right next door to the Mountain View Senior Center.
We are.
Do you two organizations collaborate at all, or do you have contact with that?
So our clinical outreach specialist, Susan, goes over there every other week to do blood pressures for them.
I see.
And they're aware of us, and we're aware of them. So hopefully we can work on ways to collaborate a little bit more in the future. They are able to provide a larger range of services to those that don't need a more structured site like Rose
Right.
Kleiner Center. So once they see that someone's struggling to come to the senior center, I would love for us to be able to collaborate and see how we can support those participants.
Well, I certainly enjoyed this discussion, and before we close, are there any final comments that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I've noticed in my year and a couple months at the Rose Kleiner Center that people wait a little too long to call us. They see a parent or a spouse struggling, and getting in the door and learning more about our services earlier will help to keep that loved one at home longer. So I urge people to give us a call, stop by for a tour.
Do you anticipate advertising your services more? Or?
We actually we've ramped up our advertising because we're doing a free week. We're for those that are private pay, they have an option of trying us for a week. So hopefully
Oh,
that
really?
helps.
Okay, so you get a free week trial.
We do.
That's very good.
Another thing that I forgot to mention is Mitzi is my cockapoo who comes in 3 times a week.
Okay.
So our participants love seeing her, and folks are welcome to stop by and meet her as well.
And just to circle around one last time here before we stop, I remember, did you still bring in farm animals occasionally?
We haven't since I got here, but that's definitely a goal. We did that when I was at the Institute on Aging. We brought in, were they donkeys or ponies, and folks really like that. So.
Well, this has been wonderful talking with you. Thank you
as
very
well.
much.
Thank you.
Christina, thank you so much for joining us today on The Better Part to discuss the Rose Kleiner Center. Also, I would like to invite our TV viewers to join us and become members of The Better Part. Visitors are always welcome to attend our meetings held at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays at the Cupertino Senior Center. If you are interested in becoming a Better Part member, please contact the Senior Center for more information or simply attend one of our meetings. Remember, too, that our shows are available for viewing on Roku and YouTube. Thanks for watching.